Well, hello there. I am wanting to talk to you about uh, family restoration in a sense, and forgiveness and love being the answer, all that good stuff. But today, my family had a big breakthrough, and I was included. And just it's like 10, 15 things, but I'll tell you a couple of things. Okay. Um, I'm a person who believes in telling the truth because I am the truth, and that's what we're here to do, and the truth will set us free. So, um, I made a decision a few years ago to stop lying 100%. On the whole, I've always been honest, but of course, people lie for their good reasons. There's good reasons to lie. And I chose to take those reasons off the table and just stop lying. And because the truth sets you free. If you have to lie to be in a situation that you want to be in, then it's really not for you. If telling the truth kicks you out of that situation, then that means that you're not supposed to be in the situation. The truth sets you free from the situation that you have to lie to be in. So um, it is truly freeing. So I'm saying all of that to say it's such a beautiful day. My goodness. Look at it. It's a beautiful day. Ooh, it's a breeze. This is nice. Okay. So I'm saying all of that to say, okay, so my daughter and I haven't spoken verbally or seen each other in person or even like FaceTime or anything like that in 2 years. And then she's my youngest daughter. And so she wants an apology. But I don't think I'm wrong, right? So it's like if you're in a situation where you think someone did something to you and then they think you did it to them, and so they supposed to give you an apology, and you're supposed to give them the apology, and nobody's budging because nobody thinks they're supposed to give the other the apology. So um so my sister was talking to me because my sister was having her own debate with my niece about her relationship with her father. And so it came, so they were like, you need to swallow your pride. Basically, if you want your, really, my sister was saying this, you swallow your pride and apologize and say, but I would be lying. I don't, I'm not sorry. Right. So, so she was like, so look at your life. She said, look at your life. If you don't apologize because you're saying you're not sorry, what would happen versus if you apologize and then y'all can work it out or whatever, and then see what happened. What do you think? I say, well, it'll be, if I apologize, that's like giving the person the idea that I really think that they were right, and then we can't have a relationship anyway because then they're going to do the same thing again. So it's like that's false. I'm not going to lie and apologize. If telling the truth is keeping me from a relationship with my daughter, then that means we need to be separate right now. So they were like, oh my God, that's so prideful, and I'm like, no, it's truthful. It's like, I'm not going to lie. So then my sister, I said, didn't one time you had that same incident with my niece? And she goes like this, she deserved it. I said, will you apologize to her? And she said, no, I'm not going to apologize to her. I said, why won't you apologize to her? She was like, because she deserved it. She knows she deserved it. I said, okay, that's my same situation. And so she was like, no, it's different. It's different. I say, no, you are mirroring me, And we are in the same situation. We're two mothers who basically think that they're right, and we will not apologize if we think we're right, because you're just not going to apologize. Like if someone rape you and then someone say forgive them and then tell them you're sorry, you're like, no, I'm not going to tell them I'm sorry. I'm not. Right? So um so I said, this is how it can work. I said, if I'm really supposed to apologize to my daughter, I'm going to pray, right? I'm going to ask God right now to compel me to feel sorry, or to compel me to that's the only way I'm apologize, is if I feel apologetic. And I apologize to people all the time. So I said, so if it's God's will that I apologize to her, then God need to make me feel apologetic, right? So, she was like, "Oh my God, you're still being prideful." But I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm really trusting God that if I'm supposed to apologize, then I will feel apologetic." So then, uh, and I teach forgiveness. I've already forgiven my daughter. I love my daughter. I've reached out to her. I told her, hey, I messaged her and told her, hey, it's something I need to tell you or whatever. She was like, are you apologizing? And I'm like, no, but I love you, and it's important. And she basically went and talked to me. So she wants that apology. So I was like, okay. So after that, um, I I was talking to my niece, and she was like, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you just tell her? I say, I forgive her and I love her or whatever. And she was like, well, why don't you tell her that? I said, well, I sort of told her that to a certain extent. She was like, well, tell her that you forgive her and you love her. Do it again. And I was like, I can do that. I can do that. So then I was like, well, what about your dad? What are you going to do about your dad? I said, you can't tell me what to do, and you won't reach out to your father because of your pride or whatever. And so she was like, I said, how about this? If you want me to do that for my daughter, then you need to reach out to your father. And so she was like, you know, but she didn't want to do it. So she was like, so we went over like some of the things in her childhood and realized like he was just the best that he could be. Just like most parents, they, if you don't take a course, and if someone doesn't teach you like specifically, or if you didn't have a father, or if your mother was too busy or whatever it was, or abused, or whatever the case is, for whatever reason, you're going to make mistakes as a human being. We're just going to not know how to do everything. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to hurt people we love around us, even our children, just because like you could be thinking you're doing such the greatest job, but someone is hurting because of your neglect, and you're not even thinking about it because you're just working hard, or you're just in your own struggles or whatever, and you don't think that your child is over there feeling neglected because you got to work overtime. You're just working overtime so you can pay the bills or whatever, but it still hurts them if they feel neglected. It doesn't matter what the reason is, and it's not a wrong thing for them to feel what they feel. So, um, so I'm a person who always teaches forgiveness, because when I forgive, I realize it's for me. Forgiveness is for you, and it's for me. Um, so I always, do my best to forgive people so that I can feel good and be myself. Because when I have a grudge, it hurts. It like keeps me from being my best self. When it really does. I can't show you the love that I have for you if I am mad and angry and holding something against you. I'm going to push myself away from you. And that's really what the enemy wants, all of us to be divided. Whatever enemy that you think there is, or whether it's the inner you being the enemy or whatever it is. It wants to get you by yourself and without the love of other people. So so my niece was telling me, she said, because once her mother and father got divorced, my sister and her father got divorced, she was a grown woman, but she still missed, her father like stopped, the separations just, and he remarried and all of this. So they haven't been fishing. They haven't been doing the things that they used to do. And she's been holding that as a grudge because it's almost like, she feels like, so either way, she was like, I saw fishing. I want to go fishing, right? So I went and grabbed her phone and I called her father, and I was like, hey, whatever. And he was disappointed when he heard my voice because he wanted to hear her voice. And I was like, oh yeah, I was basically saying, don't eat. Oops, I didn't mean to say her name, but I might have to edit that part out. But I was saying she wants your uh, your relationship again. She wants to be able to talk to you about things and go fishing and stuff like that, right? And so then I said, here she goes or whatever, and I give her the phone, and it's like the first time they've spoken in a while, and he's happy to talk to her, and he was saying like, hey, I want to do more with you once this pandemic and stuff is over and all of this. So it was like a burden lifted off of her, and he was happy. And the day before, I called him for his birthday, and she was there, and she was able to say happy birthday to him, and she hadn't done that in a while. And so he was so happy then on his birthday, which was just a few days ago. So um, after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to tell my daughter, I'm going to send her another message, and I'm going to say, I want you to know, I want to make sure that you know that I love you, I forgive you, and I am here for you anytime you're ready. So I was like, I'm going to send that message. So I sent the message, right? And then I realized, okay, because before I said, what if she's just probably going to say, it's not a apology. But then I realized what I've been teaching about forgiveness, and that when you forgive, you don't wait for people to apologize to forgive. To forgive, that's not what any person who has taught forgiveness, Jesus, Buddha, anybody who teaches forgiveness, it's not wait till someone apologizes to forgive you. You forgive the wrongdoing. You forgive the wrong. You forgive someone even when they're wrong and they don't know it. Forgiving is for you. So, and I teach this, so it just sort of clicked in my head. I said, I need to ask her for forgiveness. That has nothing to do with whether I think I'm right or wrong. I need to ask her for what I want, her to forgive me. So even if I think I'm wrong or right, the forgiveness part is on her to do. So, and it will benefit her, change her life, and of course, bless me as well. If you can have your mother in your life who loves you, who is a light worker, who is a chosen one, and who is all of that, an angel and all of that, I'm here to do a lot of good. Um, if you can have that woman in your life, that's going to be a benefit to you, period. And then, of course, me with my baby daughter is a benefit to me if she forgives me. But so afterwards, I went in and I put, and I also ask that you forgive me. And so that just it just was so clear. That's all I had to do is ask her to forgive me, whether I think I'm wrong or not. It's sort of like if you are in another person's kingdom and they have rules and regulations, but you make a mistake that offends them, whether you did it accidentally, deliberate, or whatever. So, say if you say you you eat with the wrong hand in certain countries, they don't like that because it is disgusting to them because they think this is the hand you use to wipe your behind, so that you can't eat with that hand or whatever. So it's offensive to them. So say you're eating with that hand, you don't wipe your butt with with that hand. So uh, basically, you're not wrong. You don't think you're wrong. You know you didn't mean to do anything bad, but you offended someone. And so they say for eating with this hand, you have to pay $500 ticket for that because you disgusted the whole restaurant or whatever. So what you do is say, I didn't know, or whatever. Could you forgive me? That is what you need to ask, is for forgiveness, and that's what you need to give, is for forgiveness. And it's not after an apology. It's not when people see the light. It's not when people correct themselves. It's when they are wrong, they need the forgiveness, or when they think they are right, where they need the forgiveness. um so that was beneficial. Okay, so the other part of it is I went um I was in jail, and it was all due to an incident started with my daughter. I was in jail, and I was in maximum security. And in maximum security, every couple of months, or in jail period, every couple of months, I was in there for 7 months. Every couple of months, I would say really out loud to everybody in maximum security, if I have offended anyone, please forgive me. And if you have offended me, I have forgiven you. I would say that, and I would mean it. And it would bring things back to a good point, even though things were good most of the time. But people have cliques, especially in jail. And if someone was mad at me or offended by me, then their friends would not really want to be around me. And if, vice versa, if I was offended by someone else, my friends was going to separate themselves from that person and their clique or whatever. So the whole thing is, that whole thing would open it back up so that none of my friends have to be defensive and vice versa and all of that, and it would just change everything. So I remembered that too. So I was like, this is great, whatever. So I did that, and it was just a huge blessing. So my niece spoke with her father. Oh yeah, and then my niece, she was like, I said, why don't, because she was like, why don't he ever come over here and talk to me, or he doesn't do, and I was like, well, why don't, she was like we used to go fishing and do this. I said, why don't you call him and ask him to do it? And she was like, so basically you're saying, if you want something with someone or whatever, instead of just wanting them to do it, maybe you can just start in and do it. And I was like, yeah. And it's basically that, be the change that you want to be in the world. It's sort of like you have to be the change that you want to be in your family. That's the first start. First, you have to be the change in yourself. So if you say, I would love the world to be more forgiving, then you have to be more forgiving. Or if you say, I want the world to be more kind, then you have to be more kind. I want the world to smile more, then smile more. People don't say hi to anyone anymore, then wave to people. Um, People turn the other way when they see someone who needs help, then turn toward that person and help them. You have to be the change that you want to see in yourself first, and then next in your family, and say, well, I wish my mom do this for me, then do it for her. If she doesn't know better, or you know what I'm saying, if she doesn't know better or she doesn't do better or whatever, then do show it to her. And so it was a real blessing. So everybody was like really blessed today. And it's other forgiveness stories today. It's so much good as far as came out of us choosing to realize that we all make mistakes. We're all human. We need to ask for forgiveness, all of us, and we need to give forgiveness, all of us. So that's the answer. We need to forgive all of it because we're all human and we all been like born on a plantation and been born in the matrix, and we've been tricked and programmed and pit against each other. And so we need to acknowledge that we need forgiveness, and we need to acknowledge that we need to forgive, and we need to do that. So in doing that, it just was like, oh my God, that's great, that's great, that's great. And I felt so good